Well, Henry, welcome back and welcome to the new edition as well. I'm curious, why now? Why exactly have you chose to return now, and what was the inspiration behind it?
Because it's easy money. Who's on that? Okay. Because it's easy money. Because it's easy money, and I watched these guys fight after coaching some of the best guys in the world: Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Zhang Weili, Davidson Figueiredo, Yuri Prochazka. I started to understand my talent a little bit more. And I know there is a window. I know there is a gap where I really do have to say goodbye. I'm 36 years old or 36 years young, and I feel good. I feel really good. I love the challenge. I love the fact that people are going to doubt me. And I think that's another reason why I'm back, too. You know, I love being the underdog, like I've been my whole life. And I think that's why. And I personally think Aljamain just sucks.
I watched your last press conference in Jacksonville when you announced your retirement, and you said you want these guys to go and kill each other, and you named people like Aljamain, Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen. Since then, you've got to watch all those guys fight, and it seems as if you haven't been that impressed from the sidelines.
No, I think more importantly, I think I just understand my skill set. I think the confidence I just have in me and what I've done. I think that's more of where that kind of comes from. But yeah, let them kill each other. I mean, there was a strategic plan if I was going to come back. Even if I never came back, guys, I'm happy with my career. You know, I've done everything that I set out to do, like literally on a piece of paper, +1, winning a second UFC belt. I mean, I can retire now and be all right. But I love the fact that this fight could put me in a category where it's just like, man, you may not like the persona, you may not like my personality, you may not like the cringe, but you will definitely respect me and put me on Goat Mountain. After a 3-year retirement, what John Jones has done, what St. Pierre has done, like that's Mount Olympus. And not only am I looking to beat Aljamain Sterling, but I'm looking to dominate him. And he ain't going past 3 rounds.
You mentioned John and George St. Pierre. They came back and fought some good guys too, but in your mind, would you coming back and beating Aljamain after this stint off be better than what they did in terms of their achievement and their opponent?
Yeah, I think so. Because with all due respect, and I love John, that wasn't Francis Ngannou. I love St. Pierre. I think he's great. But he also, you know, that wasn't the best guy in the world at that time, with all due respect. You know, he picked the right opponent. I'm coming in. I'm literally getting the number one ranked guy in the world, which happens to be Aljamain. And I love that challenge. And I knew it was premeditated that within a year that I'm more likely I was going to fight. So I put my name in that hat. I forget when it was. Was it in April? It was about a year. I knew that within that time that I was going to fight within a year. Like I just knew how this stuff was going to work. So yeah, I've been retired for 3 years, but really I've been retired for 2. Because this whole last year I've been training. This whole last year I've been studying. Those last 2 years I've been training the best in the world. And just the accumulation of knowledge that I've experienced, it's like when my mind is turning, Ali said it yesterday, it's like, Henry, you're so much more dangerous when you start thinking and your mind starts whining, like people don't understand. Yeah, I may grow a gut. I may like fried chicken like Daniel Cormier. But I can compete. I can compete with anybody, and I do believe I am the greatest competitor of all time.
You mentioned your mindset there and how dangerous you are when it starts whirring. You also just said that Aljamain kind of sucks. So when you look at this fight with your analysis brain on, where does he have strengths? Where is his weaknesses, and where do you thrive?
Aljamain's greatest gifts is his transitions to his submissions. Whether he's taking the back or he's going after the neck, he's super quick in those positions. He telegraphs a lot of what he does. I can see from a mile away. I'm not impressed by his distance is off. And I'm looking to expose that. I think he's tough. He's gritty. He is gritty, you know. But I think his technique is flawed. And if he thinks his length, his weight is going to be an issue, he's in trouble. He's going to have to wrestle. He's going to be forced to wrestle. He's going to be forced to take risks. Because that's the only way that he's going to try to beat me. That's it. So I know the game plan. Whether he has a great game plan, he's the same guy. He's a freestyle fighter. Even if he does have a plan, he's going to throw shit against the wall. Like he's just going to go. You know, and we're expecting that. So the key is to stay disciplined, stick to the game plan, and take him out.
And last one from me, it would seem that Sean O'Malley would be next for you. But I know Alexander Volkanovski is someone you've always wanted to fight and get that 3rd title. Are you okay with O'Malley? Or are you going to say, listen, guys, I came back, I beat this guy, I want what I want?
No, of course. He's next. He's next. I wouldn't mind 2 tune-ups before I go against Alexander Volkanovski. Sean O'Malley, he's that dirty Q-tip. He's a privileged brat. I think we all know that. And I'm going to hurt him. But first things first, Aljamain's first. And I know he's confident, but I know deep down inside he respects me a little too much, and he's gonna feel that. He's gonna see the competitor that's gonna come out, and once that cage locks, he's gonna lock into my eyes, and he's gonna see what I'm made out of. So, Sean O'Malley is next, and I like that fight. I love the fact that he's tall. I love the fact that he's popular, and I'm gonna hurt that dude.
Henry, you had a bit of an encounter on Embedded with Aljamain in the lobby. Can you just tell us what that was like when you're actually, in that moment? Did you find it strange?
Got me. I'm kind of pissed at myself afterwards. I'm like, man, this dude, he just comes up, he just tries to butter me up. I don't like it. This is personal. Aljamain, you can't do that, dude. You can't just, hey, I respect you, man. Hope all is well. Inshallah.
Do you feel like he was trying to play mind games there?
No. I just think he wants to make it fun. That stuff doesn't work with me. But he did butter me up, where I was like, all right, man, best of luck. But in reality, I want to tear his damn face off. I don't like it. It is personal. He can buy me a beer after I beat him, and that's all there is to it.
What does it say about your comeback? Aljamain, this division hasn't really headlined a ton of pay-per-views while you've been gone, but you come back and right away it's a pay-per-view main event. Do you think that's because you're the A side here more so than him?
Of course. I've already headlined 3. I've headlined ESPN, the first event with TJ Dillashaw. I headlined my first title defense at bantamweight with Marlon Moraes, and then I'm coming back after the 3-year layoff. Why do I deserve this? It's given I am the A side. And those who think because of his size, man, you guys have something coming.
So you're 36 years old now, and I don't know if you've seen.
36 years young.
I don't know if you've seen the statistic that says fighters between flyweight and welterweight who are over 35, they're 2-22, and the only 2 wins were by Tyron Woodley. What do you think that kind of says maybe about the challenges of being a bit of an older fighter in these divisions and what makes you different?
Well, there's some pretty harsh stats, dude. I mean, look at Glover Teixeira. But none of those guys have an Olympic gold medal. None of those guys are double champs. I mean, look at what Cormier, look at what Randy Couture. I come from that lineage. I come from that cloth. I feel better today than I've ever felt before. I really do. I'm twitchier. I'm faster. I'm smarter. I'm just firing at all cylinders. My weight is good. I've mimicked my fights for those who think ring rust. That's an attitude. I've mimicked every single fight camp, every single Saturday. I mimicked having a referee in there, having a judge in there, having a crowd in there, of literally giving me that live situation where I could feel those nerves. This is normal to me. I have over 1,000 wrestling matches. I really do. Going up against the best in the world in a 16-man bracket, you don't know who you're going to compete against and find a way to win. That's the stuff that's hard. I'm preparing for this guy for about the last 3 to 4 months. I know what he's going to do. I know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He has to go for broke. He has to take risks. I'm too solid, and even being a shorter fighter, people have no idea how hard it is to fight or to penetrate to get underneath somebody like that. Look at Volk. 5'6", 145 pounds. None of these 45-pounders could beat him. But that's the biggest challenge, and that's who I want. I have Aljo, O'Malley, and then I'm going after Volkanovski. And I want him in Australia. I want him in his own backyard.
He's picked you to win. I don't know if you saw that from him earlier.
They've all picked me. If you noticed, everybody who really understands the game, all the good fighters. All the elite fighters, not the UFC. Oh, Aljamain's big. Oh, he's long. No. The elite of the elite, the people that really understand the game, we'll bet Cejudo.
And last one from me, so someone else can go. You'd said during immediate aftermath of the retirement and kind of in between that to come back, you wanted to feel appreciated, whether that was promotionally or financially, things like that. Are you sitting here today happy with the deal that you're fighting under and all those things that you wanted in order to return?
Yeah, of course. Listen, guys, this is I'm an entrepreneur, man, so I get the UFC too. You know what I'm saying? If I didn't deserve that amount, my whole thing was guys, I'm working. Guys, I'm being a fucking Chester, and I'm throwing these pillows and I'm slamming these snakes. I'm like, I'm working. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that Conor did it and it's compensated myself? But I also get it. You know, if you're not first, you got to be different. And yeah. I mean, I'm just happy I'm back, dude. At this point, you know, I made these last 3 years, man. I made good money, and that's something that I had to prove to myself. I'm not a fighter. I'm not like, I don't just live for this. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been the last years have been the best years of my life. They really have. You know, got married, had a baby, another one on the way, and I'm spanking one on Saturday too. Salute.
Henry Becker.
Was there a fight before this one that you thought about coming out for, or a fighter you thought about coming out of retirement for before this one?
No, not really. I think it's always like the only guy that I can honestly say that it was never really about the belt was Demetrius Johnson. That's the only guy that I could honestly say, hey, man, forget the belt. And if you see my past interviews before I became UFC champion for the first time, I'm like, this is personal, man. I want to beat Demetrius Johnson because of his high IQ. But really, the other guy that it is Volkanovski. You know, I may talk all this stuff. I may call him Alexander the Average. You know, I may call him, you know what I'm saying? But I know the skill sets, the tactical game. He knows that I know that I understand the game. And it's the same reason why he's going for me. You know, I respect his tools. And it's cool that the fact that he always comes out, because I enjoy watching a guy like that. I'm just like, I know what he's doing. You know, so that's, if there's anybody that I'm really thinking, even though I know I'm fighting Aljamain, it is Volkanovski.
You announced your retirement, but I mean, did you even feel at the time that it was going to be more of a break, or did you really feel you could?
No, I was done, and none of my team even knew. I'm just like, I'm cutting all this weight. Since age 11 to age 33, I've accomplished everything there is to accomplish. And I mean, what else is there to do? I defended both my belts. There's not like, oh, he didn't defend his belt. Like, there's never that asterisk that Conor has. You know, to me, it's I've done what I've done. I move on. I start new things. You know, I started my YouTube channel for the all you guys, all you YouTubers that love a little bit of the cringe, a little bit of the comedy, but the fact that I state the facts. Like, I enjoy doing things like that. I enjoy giving advice. And it's the same reason why the best fighters in the world come to me. You know, I'm not your coach. I'm a counselor. I'm a mentor. And I can only tell you the truth. And even if your coach is with you, I'll tell your coach the truth too. And I think that's why people continue to keep coming back, because it's not, yeah, I may show ego here on camera a little bit, just a little bit. But in reality, it's just, I just want to be able to help and be able to make a difference in order for these guys to accomplish their dreams.
And last one for me. So then what really turned the tide for you then? What really changed your mind about, you know, like you said, you were successful without fighting, you had a family, you don't have to do this even though it's a lucrative payday. What really kind of changed the tune for you?
It's the doubt. It's the doubt that people will still doubt me. You know, it really is. And I enjoy that. I enjoy being doubted. I really do. And I think I've learned that from myself in these last 3 years. I really do enjoy being the underdog. I really do enjoy people like, nah, he's been out for too long. You know, that's the stuff that I like. You know, I really do. And I think that's what's motivating me. And also the other person, too, was actually, you know, getting a chance to coach all these guys. Getting Coach Jones, Demetrius, all these guys. And I'm just like, man, as good as these guys are, I also start to understand my ability a little bit more. And then, honestly, the last thing is I remember sitting with Demetrius Johnson. And he was like, Henry, why don't you he's like, why don't you just fight? I'm just like, you know, because I'm enjoying what I love to do. You know, I'm enjoying, like, building this stuff. I enjoy business, got into real estate, like, doing well with that, too. And he's like, yeah, but he's like, yeah, because I'm like, Demetrius, fighting isn't forever. And I'm just like, and I'm enjoying what I mean, eventually we're going to have to say goodbye to the damn sport. Little did I know I ended up inspiring him, but there's one thing that he did tell me that really kind of hit the nail on the head. He's like, yeah, but fighting is the easiest way to make money. And I'm like, shit, he's right. He's right. I went back and I remember talking to Michael Wanzover, and I'm like, That's all somebody had to say. It's the easiest way to make money. And this is what I'm the best in the world at. You know what I'm saying?
Henry, back here. Congratulations and welcome back. So you were talking about the elite of the elite. In such a notorious class of Olympic gold medalist wrestlers, you are the best and you accomplish the most. And we're talking about guys like Mark Schultz. We're talking about Kevin Jackson. We're talking about Kareem Abraham. We're talking about Rulon Gardner. Like, what separated yourself from their journey, and such elite names, but what separated your journey from them that made you the best of the best of that elite class?
Time. I took my time. I boxed for 3 years, amateur boxing, did the competition, like literally took my time. Even in those days, like these wrestlers, they're just throwing them in, like, you know what I'm saying? They're just throwing them in without just being wrestlers, and they're dominating. And I think the difference was, too, is I retired young from wrestling, where these guys have taken a beating, man, 3, 4, 5 Olympic cycles to eventually call it quits. Like, there comes a point where you get sick of competition. You really do, and it's the same reason why I just retired in 2020, because I'm just like, man, I'm tired of this. Like, let me compete in something else. You know, like even in wrestling, like my goal was never to become the greatest of all time. My goal was just to become an Olympic champion. So, but I think the biggest thing is I had a plan. You know, I knew that before I started a fight, I wanted to make sure that I had hands. I wanted to make sure that I had some amateur boxing in there. And I tell you what, man, amateur boxing is some of the hardest things you'll ever do in sports. 3-minute fights to put me in the open division right away. It was tough, but I took my time. And I think the biggest thing with those guys, it was just they competed for so long, man. It's like, you guys have no idea. You guys have never wrestled, but if you wrestled, you would know. This is the reason why people are flocking to MMA. It's just like, man, that sport is too competitive.
Absolutely. And the wrestling world is a buzz about the Magic Man, David Taylor, potentially going to MMA. What advice would you give him? And what Olympic gold medalists out of that class who would you want to see fight, and why is it Gable Steveson?
What was the last question?
David Taylor, there's a rumor that he's going to be competing in MMA, Olympic gold medalist. And, like, what advice would you give him? And also, what Olympic gold medalist wrestlers, I don't know if you still keep up with the wrestling scene, but what wrestlers would you want to see compete? And why is it Gable Steveson?
I think with David Taylor, I think he's honestly, I think these guys need to come to talk to me. You know, they really do, because if you're not careful, man, you are going to get hurt. If you're not careful, you are going to get humbled like I did with Demetrius Johnson. If you're not careful, Daniel Cormier, you will get beat up like John Jones beat him up. Respect the game. Like, wrestling is the strongest base. But you have to have a formulated plan. Don't let these coaches just put you in competition right away. And I tell these guys all the time, like, have a plan, man. Like, have a plan. Like, you have to learn 2 out of the 4 bases down first. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether you're gonna be you got to be a wrestler, or you can be a grappler, like kind of like Ben Askren. But you have to really develop a good striking game before you really start to mix it all. Sometimes the problem is with a lot of fighters and a lot of wrestlers, and they start mixing it a little too quick. They're trying to run before they could actually crawl, and that could also stunt your growth too. As good as you could be and as good as you could compete, you got to find the right engineers. So those guys know. I've hit up Bo Nickel. I hit up these guys, but don't learn the hard way, dude. Like, I've been there before. Like, you know, come and learn from me.
Awesome. And one more question for me. Congratulations, by the way, on being a new father. How soon are they going to be on the wrestling mats? When they're going to hit doubles, singles, hitting spladles? How soon are you going to put them on the wrestling mats?
And that's another thing that people have a misconception. I have a nephew right now, and he grew up around the sport. You know, Uncle Olympic champ, his dad, 4-time undefeated. Like, my brother was one of the best guys in the world, too. And we didn't start him until he was probably hitting closer to 12, 11 and a half. We didn't start him wrestling. We had him around the sport, let him play this whole damn time. Because we knew that once he decided to wrestle, he was in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you become a gymnast, like, where you're a professional now, man. Like, there's no more going back to where the cat never catches Tweety. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do decide to wrestle, this is what you have to do. Within 2 years, the kid won Tulsa Nationals, #1 in the country for his age group. You know, there's a method to this stuff, and if you're able to parent your kids and do it correctly, and if they love the sport, I mean, the key is to win. And I can only lead my nephew Pablito as an example.
Thank you so much for your time.
Henry, in the countdown, Aljamain said that he believes that you quit because you feel that the competition was too tough. What's your response to that?
I quit. He's babysitting my belt. I quit. No, not at all. I mean, Aljamain is just trying to see what shit sticks to the wall, dude. Like, I appreciate a little bit of his cringiness, but no, man, he'll find out.
And just your thoughts of Volkanovski and Yair Rodriguez, that fight that's coming up.
Yeah, I think that the toughest fight that Volk will have is Yair. And I do believe Yair has that chance to actually beat him. Long leg kicks, if he's able to keep him at bay. If Yair's able to be a little more tactical with his kicks and really invest in something, rather than just fighting, because it's 5 rounds and Volkanovski's got a gas tank. But if he's able to do that, I think he could easily beat Volk. As much as I would hate to fight a Yair Rodriguez. Just the length on his kicks. Obviously, you know, we know each other, but just the length on his kicks and, you know what I'm saying, just super quick. Like, Yair's a problem. And if Volkanovski thinks he's just gonna run through him, he better have a really good game plan. But I do believe that Yair does have that chance to actually beat him if he's able to really hone in on his threshold and not use so much violence, but be very calculated when he throws his kicks and punches.
Henry, in front of you here, you've mentioned Conor a couple of times today. How serious do you think he is about making a comeback? And I know that you two have had your back and forth, but would you maybe be willing to work with him as well?
No. I think he's offended too many of my good friends, you know. At first, yeah, I was kind of a Conor hater. Then I became a fan. I'm like, you know what? This dude, he won me over. But I think he took things a little too far. With you know, talking about Khabib's father, you know, after him passing. You know, calling my manager a rat, a terrorist, all that. Like, to me, like, I get sports and I get the entertainment side, but that's just a little too much for me. What I've done a fight feedback on him. If he was smart, he'd watch it. And I think the biggest things that Conor could do is adjust his stance. He's too heavy on that lead leg. He needs to go back to he's not an attacker. Conor anticipates and he counters well. Start bringing people into you, man. Like, Conor doesn't always, like, notice when he started just getting a little too aggressive, started coming into a little too forward, and then people started kind of understanding his bluff. He throws too much power. And I think he needs to go back to his analogy of power beats. What was it?
Precision beats power.
Yeah, precision beats power. What was the other one?
Timing beats speed.
Exactly. But his distance is off right now. His position is off. I mean, he needs to go back to my fight feedback. He's respond to a lot of my stuff when I do, like, breakdowns on him. I know he would like it, but I just couldn't, man. I couldn't do that to Khabib nor Ali. And
when in 2019, when you became the double champ, your teammate Pitbull did the same thing over in almost around the same time. Do you think there's a chance maybe when you become C4, he's also going to become a triple champ in Bellator?
Oh, 100%. And I tell this to people all the time. It's like, if there's one fighter that's amongst the greats that I admire, that I've stole his style a little bit, it is Patricio Pitbull. You know, I did steal his stance from him. I did steal a lot of the stuff that he was doing. I'm just like, man, this dude, he went from a brawler to being a tactician. And I do believe that Patricio will become the first triple champ in MMA history. He's smart, man. He's if you guys really understand him, he's smart and he's a freaking killer. Like, you guys have no idea what that dude is. Like, he's a killer, man, and he's a calculated killer. And I think that's where I've been able to really make my growth with the Pitbull brothers out of Natal, along with my coaches over here, Eddie Cha, Captain Eric Alberison, Santino DeFranco, Everton Lopez out at Fight Ready. You know, we create the perfect storm. Like, we're constantly adding people to the game. We're constantly adding new arsenals, whether it's technology or game planning, little things that we can do that's going to give us the edge in this fight. Like even yesterday, man, I was talking to Robert Whittaker. I'm just like, Robert, I had an interview with New Zealand TV. I don't know what it was. But I'm like, mate. I'm like, Robert. And the dude was like, hey, give me a motivational Monday, one of the guys. And I'm just like, man, I'm going to do one right now for Robert Whittaker. I'm like, Robert Whittaker, your next fight with Israel Adesanya, adjust your stance. Don't be so heavy on it. The first time you fought him, that first round was pretty until you decided to exchange with him. And when you started to exchange with them is when you got in trouble. I says, learn how to use your leverage, man. Find a good folk-style wrestling coach. Know when to transition to positions where you're going to end up in better. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of times where he was sagging down Israel, and I'm just like, you lost the position, dude. Go to the front headlock him. You still got time to get there. Or be able to snatch wrists right away. Learning where to distribute your weight. And, it was cool because Robert was able to respond to be like, I think I'll take you up, mate. I think I'll take you up. So maybe after this fight, maybe me and Robert could do something.
Henry, over here. You decided to bring your daughter with you up to the stage. She was only here a little bit.
Yeah, but she didn't want to. She didn't want to leave. She's gonna start crying, dude. So
she's pretty well behaved right now. So obviously you're enjoying the time being a father. How has that kind of changed your mentality, your approach to fighting, being a father and having something different to fight for?
I'm not doing this for my family. I'm not doing this for my daughter or my wife. Like this is, they don't even want me fighting. My daughter's not. I'm not taking my daughter to the fight. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those guys. My wife's coming, but she would prefer me to not fight. So this is just a personal accomplishment that they're supporting me at. It's within me. I'm not going to put this on nobody else.
But you decided to bring her here. Obviously, you wanted her to be a part of this.
100%. Yeah, because dude, I love my baby. I miss my baby. Even when I travel, it's a trip. I'm just like I'm constantly on the phone with her. I'd rather have her here, and I got a lot of my training partners that look after her. So I tell them all the time. There's like 10 of them. So hey, you guys got 30 minutes apiece to play with her. I gotta kind of recover and rest. But as I'm watching, it's cool. It's cool because I also know that the incentive to it is, it's just financial freedom for them.
But it does seem there's a little bit of a, you're kind of talking about this. There's a little bit of security in having her around here. Maybe a little bit of mental ease. Is that accurate or?
I don't know. I never thought about it like that. Maybe. Convince me.
I don't think I need to. I think she can.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Like I'm carefree, guys. Like I'm here to do my best. That's it. As long as I give my best, and I will always give my best. If you're gonna beat me, man, you better kill me.
Are you planning to do anything with the family while you guys are in town in the city, going to the city, or?
Yeah, we're gonna shoot out to New York for I think for a few days and just have some pizza and all that. Get fat again.
When do you think you might want to fight again?
Right away. I want O'Malley, make sure he listens to this. I want him right away. Within I want to take at least about a month off, and boom, UFC set it up. Let's set it up and let's do it in Boston. Let's do it in let's do it in his backyard. That wannabe American. Let's do it in Boston.
Thank you.
Hey, Henry. Does a win here solidify your claim as the bantamweight GOAT?
Man, I really don't care about that stuff. Nor do I care about pound for pound. I think that's the stupidest thing ever. At the time that I had 2 belts, why wasn't I pound for pound? You know what I'm saying? It's the stupidest thing ever, man. With all due respect to all you analysts here. It's a popularity thing. I really don't care. I really don't care about that, nor do I care about pound for pound. Because I know that by the time I beat Aljamain on Saturday, I'm gonna be behind a dude that got knocked out. Or behind a dude that these two dudes had a close match. It's the stupidest shit ever. Before, I used to kind of chase it. And then I'm just like, all right, I just got my 2 belts. I just defeated Marlon Moraes. I stopped him. I made a statement. They stayed the same. I was behind Jones, Khabib. Could Khabib go up and beat Kamaru Usman at that time? Could Jones go up at that time and beat Francis Ngannou? numbers don't lie, but I think they will forever kind of, or you guys. This is a question I got for you guys. I don't know what you guys' thinking is on this, but it's a popularity contest. It's like an ESPY. Same thing with an ESPY. It's the People's Choice Award. You know, how stupid and how flamboyant can I be to get this award?
No, I totally get that perspective, and obviously.
Yeah. So you guys don't even rank me after this with the pound for pound stuff, because that's just fucking. It's gonna piss me off, dude. I ain't trying to be number 4 or number 2 or number. I'm 1 or nothing.
And obviously, you just mentioned you're excited for an eventual Volkanovski matchup. Now, if Yair were to beat Volkanovski, does a main event with you two fighting for the featherweight belt in Mexico interest you?
Probably not. I don't think the Mexicans like me too much. I wouldn't want to do it there, dude. They'll kill me. But he's got to get through Volk first. That's not on my mind. Neither is Volk nor Yair. It really is. My goal is the featherweight strap, which I think is Volkanovski, but because he's the current champ now. But I'm not thinking of neither one of those featherweights. But I think after these next 2 fights, I can't be denied. I can't.
Hey Henry, in the back on the left. I really do admire your MMA skill set. I think you're one of the most well-rounded mixed martial artists of all time. I'm wondering, do you see a significant skill advantage in a certain area in this fight?
Everything. In every sense of the way, from standing to the wrestling to the hair. See that? I just think I'm better than Aljamain everywhere. I think he's got grit. I will give him that. I know he will fight for this.
What do you think of his striking game? It's kind of funky on the feet. He throws some weird kicks. What do you think of that?
I got to be careful. I mean, I'm not underestimating Aljamain. I just believe in my skill set that much, but I'm not impressed.
And you've talked about in the past how you need a challenge to really get up for. What makes Aljo that, or is it really just you want the belt back?
That's not that I want the belt back. I see him as a tune-up fight. You know, I see him and Oman as a tune-up fight. I want that featherweight strap.
And then lastly, for me, who has the better YouTube channel, you or Aljo?
Oh, look at the numbers, man. His is like, oh well, here, like, man, my stuff is. I'm growing by day. I'm growing thousands by day. So you guys make sure to subscribe to that damn YouTube channel.
Thank you, Henry. I am a subscriber. I do enjoy your channel.
You're welcome. Come over here, Captain. Let me bring up Captain Eric Alberis in here. Come here, Captain Coach. You guys give him a hand. Come on, guys. When can we show the coaches some love? Go ahead, Captain. Take him over. Tell me what we're gonna do to Aljiz on May 6th.
May 6th, the return of the GOAT. You know, I was saying in that countdown about a list, but I didn't say the second part, and I'm going to let you guys, I'll tell it to you guys. When I first met Henry in 2004, he wrote a list at the Olympic Training Center. You walk in his room, you see the list. Number 1 on that list was Olympic champion. Number 2 on that list was UFC champion. Number 3 on that list was world's best father and husband. He completed that list. P.S. There's a new list out. It's a hit list, a black list. And on May 6th, the Funk Master gets scratched off that list. That's all I got.
All right, hey, last question, dude. We're out of here. Last question.
Henry, one last question for you back here. You were talking about boxing earlier. What boxer or boxers have influenced you the most, and why?
That's good, man. A lot of the boxers that really influenced me were like, back in my heyday, early 2000s. Because I grew up watching boxing. You know, Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. But the one that really took it all, man, is Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, to me, he's the greatest of all time. 8-division champ. Is not the Floyd Mayweather, undefeated, the guy that protected his record, the guy that was padded. Yeah, great defense. He's one of the greats. But numbers don't lie. And I want that Manny Pacquiao. I've taken that influence from him of becoming, a 3-division champ in the UFC. And he's a big inspiration for me in combat sports. So if there's one guy that I could really say, I'm just like, man, he's the greatest of all time, the best of the best at cream of the crop, it's Manny Pacquiao.
Thank you, Henry.
I said, I'm out.